Okay, so the main reason, or one of the reasons I should say, for having a vulnerability assessment or penetration testing exercise completed is to verify that a threat exists. Okay, that's one of the first things that we're going to do. So the type of business or group that's going to play a part in determining the potential threat that exists. So what do I mean by that? Well, a local community website, as an example, is going to have a different level or a different likelihood that there's going to be threats actually executed or targeted versus a large corporate website. All right, they may have a lot of proprietary information, trade secrets, and so on and so forth. So a local community website probably not going to be the target from highly skilled cyber terrorists. Not to say they couldn't, but probably not. You may have lower level students or hobbyists, right? If it's a school website, as an example, you're going to have kids trying to potentially change their grades or maybe deface the website for some reason versus some state sponsored, highly skilled group of cyber terrorists trying to take that website down. Conversely, you're going to have those types of actors going after large corporate websites, right? They're going to go after those assets. The hobbyists or lower level students probably are not going to go after those. So it's just a mixture of threat versus likelihood versus the environment that they're working against. So having said that, one of the first things that we'll do is try to bypass security controls. So we'll verify that the security controls are in place and they're functioning, and then we'll use a variety of tools to do that. And then once we've verified what they are and the fact that they're working, then we try to bypass them. So a variety of tools can be used, and some of these we've talked about before. Nmap, Netcat, Metasploit is a great tool. There's both a free and also a paid version. And then we have Kali Linux. It has a wealth of pen test tools built in, some of which we covered previously. And then there are many other Linux distributions as well that have tools either built in or available for download. So once we do that, once we've actually picked our tool of choice, we can go in and try to do such things as cross-site scripting attacks. Maybe try to go in the very beginning, attack that web server, see if we can get in with elevated privileges and so forth, or perhaps maybe get a dump of user accounts that we can then use to try to hack against, see if we can get in with some type of elevated privilege. We could do IP or MAC spoofing. We could bypass authentication. Say, for instance, we have a switch internal that only allows certain IP addresses or certain MAC addresses to connect to the ports on those switches. Well, if we do IP or MAC spoofing, we could bypass that. And I have here listed, we can enable 802.1x that requires actually authentication to mitigate that threat, right? We can have actually the fact that not just the machine has to log in, but the user has to log in and actually authenticate before they're allowed access to the network. So there are some things we can put in place to make things more difficult. We can do man-in-the-middle attacks, protocol analyzers and packet sniffers, again, to start pulling packets off the wire and dissecting them to see if there's information that we can use, right? There's a number of tools that can be used to try to target and attack various surfaces within that corporate environment or whatever the environment is that we happen to be working on.